Welcome or welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be dyeing my own yarn for the first time. This is the fabric dye I'm going to work with, and I grabbed 100% acrylic yarn in a white and a cream colour because I wanted to see the difference between using a plain white and a cream. So first I needed to turn the yarn into a hank, but I don't have a hank yarn winder, so I had to do it with my chair. And as you can see, my cat made this very difficult for me. And before I took the yarn off the chair, I used this figure of 8 method with another piece of yarn just to keep the yarn all together so it wouldn't get tangled up when it got wet. This was definitely the best method I did try. I tried to do it just laid out on the table, as you can see in this clip, and it was a lot more difficult as the yarn was just getting twisted. So if you are doing this at home and you're wrapping it around your chair, try to remember to tie it off before you take it off the chair. I didn't weigh the yarn when I started winding it up. I just guesstimated, and I didn't make them very even, as you can see in the next clip. I have a really small skein and then a medium and a large skein, but it doesn't really matter. This was the dye I picked up from the shop, and I couldn't decide what colour I wanted to do. I was planning on using the red, but somehow I ended up using the other two colours, so I'm quite glad I did now because, spoiler, I actually really loved how this yarn turned out. So at this point I didn't really know what I was doing. I just sort of decided to wing it. I'm not very patient when it comes to like crafts. When I want to do something, I've got to do it there and then. So I just grabbed any old container that I could put boiling water in. It is clean, it's just been well loved, but I just decided to try it out before I decided to buy all new things for it. But as I know I really enjoyed making this, I'm definitely going to be investing in lots more things to make more in the future. So the first dye I chose was this yellow, and I just winged it. I put whatever sort of amount that felt good in the cup, and then I added a bit of salt into there as well. I didn't know how much salt to add, so as you've seen in the beginning, I chucked a bit of salt in the water first, and then I chucked extra in the cups. So whatever I did, it ended up working out quite well. So I did the same with this orange colour as well. Then I added my boiling water to the cups. Again, there was no measuring involved in any of this. I just sort of did what felt right. And then I used a spoon to just mix them up. I do want to get some syringes so I can syringe them onto the yarn. I do make a mess when I start pouring them over, as you'll see in a minute, which wasn't very good. So I decided to attempt a bit of an ombre effect, and I think it ended up working out quite well in the end. I was really happy with the way this orange came out. I thought it came out quite bright, and I was hoping that it was going to stay this way. So I've seen other people drop little bits of dye and make sort of like a speckled effect on their yarn. So I tried to give that a go, but it didn't end up turning out well because I did it straight from the little packet, so I put way too much on. But I'm actually glad I did that in the end because it made the colour really nice and bright at the end. I think I made the mistake of not putting enough water in to begin with, so I just used a little pair of tongs just to dab all of the yarn in properly and mix it all around and make sure everything was submerged in some dye. Then I just added a little bit more of the orange because I really wanted the orange to be bright. Then I mixed the yarn up a little bit just to make sure everything was coated. I turned it all over, and then I think I left it for about an hour. And this is how the yarn was looking after an hour. So I still noticed that the colour in the water was still quite bright, and I've seen other people do it and their water goes clear. So I did leave it for another 15 minutes after this, but I think that was just because they were using acid dyes. So I don't think this 15 minutes made a difference. So after about an hour and 15 minutes, I turned them over just to see what they looked like, and I decided to give them a rinse. So I rinsed them through in the water a few times until the water ran clear, and when I was happy with the way they looked, I took them out. I then wrapped them up in a towel just to dry them off a bit quicker, and then I hung them up to dry. This part definitely took the longest. I think it took over 24 hours for it to completely dry, but when it was all dry, I then used my yarn winder to turn them into yarn cakes. This part was very tedious as all the yarn got really matted, and my cat tried to get involved in this as well, which didn't help. But after a very, very long time, they were all winded up ready. In the end, I'm so happy with how it turned out. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and please let me know what you think I should make with this yarn ready for my next video. Thanks for watching!